All right, here we are with another brilliant bedtime story for you guys tonight. This one is about a 56-year-old former supermodel who is shocked that men her own age are ignoring her for younger women, even to the point where she now feels invisible as a 56-year-old single woman, especially being a former supermodel. She probably thought she would get a lot more respect and attention than she is currently. So, a little bit of a rude awakening, but we are going to crack right into her story here. So, this one is from Today, and that's the site Today. I guess it's the news station Today. Uh, it's entitled Paulina Poroskova responds to all the men, in quotations, all the men telling her that she should be invisible at 56. So let me just start by saying I do not think there is an actual guy who is actually walking up to her and going, "Hey, you former supermodel, let me tell you something. You should be invisible at 56." Nobody's telling her that. That is just more of this invisible boogeyman that these feminists love to revert to play victim. Like, oh, everybody's telling me I can't do it. Everyone's saying it's because you're a woman, you'll never succeed. You know, who are these people, right? Who are these people? I mean, the left loves to dox people so much, yet you never hear who the actual person is. You know why? Because it's part of this invisible boogeyman theory that doesn't actually exist. But let's go ahead and crack into Paulina's story here. She says, the supermodel feels sexier than ever and wants other women to embrace the aging process. So here is Paulina at 56 years old, and she feels sexier than ever. So just as a bit of a disclaimer, let me pull up a younger photo of Paulina, and you can tell me if she's sexier here as a 56-year-old woman. So take a good look. This is Paulina at 56, or do you prefer Paulina at 26 when she was gracing the cover of Sports Illustrated in February of 1985? All right, so this is Paulina here as a swimsuit supermodel for Sports Illustrated when she was in her 20s in 1985. And um, this is when she was just the cat's meow, right? To put it mildly, she was a very hot girl. Even looking at younger photos of her, very attractive, very youthful, and I can guarantee she was not complaining about the invisible boogeyman back when she was in her 20s, because she had the world at her fingertips, right? She had her pick of the litter. Any high value man she wanted, she got. And she dated rock stars. She dated multimillionaires. She dated Rick Ocasek, who was the lead singer of The Cars, which was a very popular band at the time. I love The Cars personally. That was one of my favorite bands back when I was in high school. And not only did she date Rick Ocasek, but she also married him. And I can guarantee at this time when she was young and in her early 20s, she was not complaining about any ageism in the celebrity culture. She was getting all the attention and more. It's only now that she's older and nobody's paying attention to her, that's when these women love to cry foul. That's when these women love to be like, "Oh my gosh, it's misogyny at its finest. I finally see what these older women were talking about for so many years while I was on top of the world and powerful. Oh, yeah, now it's happening to me." It's like, no, people, it's just natural selection, right? I mean, people have just moved on to younger celebrities, right? And as an older celebrity, you need to make way for them. Let them have their time in the spotlight. You can't just be, a ball hog and selfishly just, hog the ball for yourself. You got to turn over the reins at some point. So let's carry on with Paulina's rant here. All right. Supermodel Paulina Poroskova wants to start a movement to fight ageism in her industry. Again, she was not concerned about this when she was 26 on the cover of Sports Illustrated, dating rock stars and Hollywood celebrities and multimillionaires. She was not concerned about this. But now that she's 56 and people have moved on and she's not getting the attention she used to, now we need to start a movement. Need to start a movement. Give me a break. Okay. Paulina Poroskova is tired of dealing with men who think she should simply fade into the background because she is in her 50s. The supermodel has been outspoken with her criticism of her industry in recent years and has suggested that women over a certain age are treated like they're invisible. Because you are, right? After a certain age, yeah, you know what? You become invisible. And this is why you're not supposed to still be single in your 50s, much less your 40s or even your 30s. You should be married by now. Okay? Because if you're married, if you're married and you have your family and you have your kids and you're watching them grow up and you're watching them have their own families, you're not going to be worried about gaining external validation from the world like you're still 20, 22 years old. You wouldn't care about that. Instead, you would be focused on your family. But because she's single, and you only hear single women harping about this ageism crap, right? She's not getting the attention she used to, so she's feeling unfulfilled because men aren't giving her the attention. Because you're supposed to be married by now, right? How many times do I have to say it? Dating is not designed to work for women after the age of 30. Just like dating is not designed to work for men before the age of 30. And then the roles flip-flop. Okay? But let's go on with Paulina's story here. So the fact that women are invisible after 50, it's a topic she elaborates on in great detail in a new interview with The Times. I am now completely invisible, Poroskova told the publication. I don't think she's completely invisible. I mean, come on, man. This chick, even at, being the age of practically a grandma, I can guarantee there are men out there, albeit much older men, who would be happy to settle down with her, right? But it's not the men that Paulina wants, right? She doesn't want these older guys that don't have as much money as she does or the social status she does. No, she wants the young, like, high value, very popular type actor, Hollywood celebrity like herself, who will ignore all of the young hotties that are chasing after him to basically commit himself to her. It's like, no, that's selfish, right? That's selfish of these actresses and these former supermodels to expect that from men. And then when they don't do it, it's ageism, it's misogyny. Get out of town with that, man. That is so, that is so weak. It's insane. So, but she goes on to say, I'm now completely invisible, which is just BS. I mean, this chick can still pull some guys. She's not that invisible. She doesn't look as hot as she used to, but that is, that's basically hyperbole at its best. Totally over exaggerating, as many of these women do. I walk into a party. I try to flirt with guys, and they will just walk away from me in mid-sentence to pursue someone 20 years younger. I believe her. I'm very single. I'm dressed up. I've made an effort, and nothing. So basically, she tries to flirt with guys at a party, and in mid-sentence, they will just walk away from poor Paulina here, and they will go pursue a younger woman. Could that be because you're pursuing chads, right? Chads that can get younger women? Could it be because you don't want to date? You don't want to lower your standards at all, and you still want to date these high-value men that you just had your pick of the litter 30 years ago when you were on the cover of Sports Illustrated? Could it be that you still think you're that supermodel that was, dating all these rock stars back in the mid-'80s? You know what? You have to, at some point, you have to be realistic. It's like, hey, I'm 56 years old. I'm still single. Most of the good men out there are married to high-value women. I missed my boat. And now I'm single. So, what? I mean, what do you want to do here? But I mean, just to add on to the story, because I do know about her a little further than what this story is revealing. I know that she was married to Rick Ocasek for a while, but and Rick Ocasek passed away a couple of years ago. So he was the lead singer of the Cars. He had a lot of money. She was married to him for the longest time, and their marriage started to fall apart towards the end when his health started to fall apart. And granted, she was there for him, from what I heard. She tried to stay by his side. However, there was a lot of friction there, and to the point where Rick Ocasek just didn't want her even part of his will. Didn't want her to get anything after he passed away. Like, yeah, he didn't want to give her anything. So obviously, he had some resentment towards her for reasons that only he knows. But I mean, us being part of the red pill community, we probably know what those reasons are, right? We can just use our imagination. So she was married for that entire time. But I mean, even if he continued to live and he didn't have health issues, she still would have divorced him. I mean, because that's where their marriage headed, was towards divorce, even as he was losing his life. So there you go. I mean, she would still be in the position she is now. So yeah. All right. So let's go on to read her tweet here. Um, and speaking of ageism, here she is using a much younger photo of herself as the profile photo for her social media account for Twitter. This is a much younger photo of her. So if she embraces herself getting older, why doesn't she use this photo? And this photo is pretty photoshopped, right? I mean, it's got a lot of retouching. I don't know if I would say Photoshop, but retouching. Which is basically Photoshop. But here she is using a much younger photo of herself for a woman who embraces aging and wants to be empowered as an older woman. Why are you using this older photo of yourself? Yeah, I don't put photos of myself. I don't put my high school yearbook photo on my social media, right? Because I'm like, that's not me anymore. I've grown up. Okay. But she says, I'd like to thank all the men who are now on my feed telling me I should be invisible at my age. You're proving my point. Okay, so where are these men? Because these women and a lot of these people, especially the ones on the left, love to dox people. They love to put people on blast. So let's see these messages from these so-called guys, these invisible boogeymen who are telling you that, yeah, you should be invisible. Oh, it's over and all the post their messages. Let's read them for ourselves. Oh, it's because nobody's really told you that. That's just your own insecurities. Just coming right back at you. So let's go on with what she has to say here. The 56-year-old described how she first began to feel invisible when she reached middle age. And now called it a slow fade. Like the boiled frog, you don't know until you're gone. It was around the same time my marriage fell apart. Okay, that was a Rick Ocasek. My husband was no longer interested in me. And as I started to looking around, I realized I was invisible to the population at large. It made me feel really terrible about myself, she said. This week, she also shared a message for those who had taken to social media to say she should be invisible at her age. Again, where are these so-called invisible boogeymen? Where are these guys? Point them out. You guys love to dox these guys. Where are they? Just show one tweet. Can you show one tweet? No, they can't. You can even block out the name. Show it. Oh, wait, you can't because you're playing invisible boogeyman here. So she is saying that she started to realize that she was feeling invisible into her middle ages, as most people do. And you know what? Most people who feel invisible as they get older, it's because they're still single, they're unmarried, they're generally female, almost always female. They have no family. They rode the carousel their entire lives. Not saying she did, because clearly she was married to Rick Ocasek. So I'm imagining that she she didn't do that. At least not to not like many of these modern women who are just relentlessly riding the carousel over and over, and then just chasing chads their entire lives, and then they finally get kicked off the carousel you know, like kicking and screaming, like with a kung fu grip. They get dragged off the carousel because nobody wants them anymore. And then they cry foul and talk about how, oh, this really makes me feel terrible about myself. And, you know, for all of these modern women who claim they're so strong and independent and I don't need a man, I mean, the fact that she feels terrible about herself, like most modern women do, when you don't give them validation, what does it tell you? It tells you they're fragile. It tells you they're weak. It tells you that they need that external validation because a person who is secure with himself would not need that, right? They would not need that. So, um, so let's just keep reading this. In a form of rebellion, Poroskova has been posting sexy photos of herself in bikinis, nude and without makeup. Um, okay, so your rebellion to people telling you should be invisible is to take your clothes off and show yourself nude. That is not proving that I mean, it does not take any effort to take your clothes off as a female. Um, that doesn't take any effort at all. It's just like when women complain about, oh, you know, how come men can have a high body count and I can't? It's because having a high body count for you is effortless. Having a high body count for men takes a whole lot of work. He has to work on himself, his finances, his career, his personality, his character, his charisma, you know, the way he walks, the way he talks, the way he projects himself, the way he carries himself, his social circle, his status, in order for him to even have a chance to get sex. Whereas women can, you know, as long as they're at least a bit cute, can just be like, hey, anyone have sex? Anyone want to have sex with me? Boom, a line will form out the door longer than the very first Star Wars line. So she's saying to rebel against all these men telling her to be invisible, she started posting sexy photos of herself in bikinis, nude and without makeup. And some of the comments, often from men, aren't very kind. Often from men, I guarantee she was getting them from women too. I started posting the same kinds of pictures that have been taken of me since I was 15, she told the Times. Well, you're not 15 anymore, right? If I took the same photos I took when I was 15 in my karate class, I mean, come on, right? I look good. I didn't realize it would be shocking for a 50-something woman to pose in the same bikinis from 30 years ago that still fit. Hey, good for you. They still fit. You haven't gained, you know, you haven't like put on all this weight or anything crazy. That's great. I applaud her on that. It's okay to oogle somebody who could be your daughter, but it's not okay to oogle a mature woman who knows themselves and are most likely way better at sex. That's not a positive, man. I mean, if a girl tells me she's really good at sex, my question, as well as any guy's question, would be, why are you so good? How did you get so good? Where did you get this experience? Oh, from banging lots of dudes. I don't want to hear that, man. I like a girl who isn't experienced. Let me show you. Let me teach you the ways of the let me show you the ways of the force. Right? I don't want her coming to me trying to, you know, show me how to swing a lightsaber. No. Right? No. So going on here. In her interview, Poroskova said she feels sexier than she did when she was younger, and that often intimidates men. You intimidated little man, you. See, you're intimidated by this strong woman. Everyone's so intimidated by me. Oh my goodness. Why is everyone so intimidated by me? I'm so strong. I'm so strong, but yet everyone's so intimidated. It's so sad that, I mean, this is just becoming old. This is just getting old, how these modern women, because they are insecure, because they have low self-esteem, because they are fragile, because they need constant reassurance and external validation, when you don't give it to them, it means you are intimidated by her. The lack of accountability here is just in the stratosphere, sadly. In her interview, okay, I am not a fluttery, vulnerable creature. Yes, you are. Yes, you are, miss. Yes, you are. You absolutely are. I am an active participant and an instigator. I know what I like and how I work. I like to have fun. I know what I'm doing, she said. That really makes them run away. So guys are running away from her because she's not a fluttery, vulnerable creature, and she's an active participant and an instigator. I know what I like and how I work. I like to have fun. I know what I'm doing. That makes them run away. So basically, she's relieving herself of any responsibility of at all, right? She's completely blameless in the reasons for men not wanting her. Has nothing to do with her and everything to do with you. Just wow. Wow. Just wow. The lack of self awareness here is pathetic, right? I mean, the one thing I respect about her was she was married to Rick Ocasek, but obviously, even he was, getting tired of her towards the end. He was like just done with it. And then she posts a challenge here. I mean, this is just the epitome of hypocrisy. So she posts a challenge. Here's a challenge. That's literally what she wrote here. Here's a challenge. Proudly look your age. So she posts a selfie of her looking her age. But she's wearing makeup. She's all done up. She clearly has the lighting well lit here, right? She had some really well lit lighting here. You could tell she took her time with this, did her hair, really made sure she angled the camera perfectly so she could get that perfect shot. And then she hashtagged proud to look my age. However, she's not proud on her actual profile photo on her social media because this is depicting a much younger version of her. For somebody who is proud to look her age, why doesn't she use her current, like a more current photo as her social media profile? Why doesn't she do that? Right? Why doesn't she do that? So, I mean, even some of mine are getting up there now. I need to replace some of my profile photos. They're probably like 4 or 5 years old now, but I'm not hashtagging, anything like this or proclaiming there's ageism. I don't care, right? I just don't care. I just do me. I don't care about external validation. I care more about just putting my work out there and putting the best work I can. And people will flock to you when you do that, right? People will come, people will listen, people will pay attention. If you have something worthwhile to say, if you have something that is worth their time, right? But just hashtagging proud to look my age, I mean, this is very self absorbed. This is very me, and it's what value are you adding to somebody's life? You're just really rounding up other old ladies to be proud that they're what? They're single, they don't have a man, they're childless, don't have a family, they're divorced, they're single moms. Is that who you're trying to rile up here? Because those are all the people that are basically just just living in this delusional reality of where they're perfect and I've done nothing wrong. It's everybody else. It's everyone else. It's not my fault. It's everyone else. And you don't learn that way. So, yeah, it's just, I mean, it's just like clear hypocrisy here, how she's saying proud to look your age, posting this older photo of herself that's very, very well lit and clearly has her makeup done and her hair done and probably took about, a few dozen of these shots, if not more, and picked the best one, while she uses a much younger photo of herself as her actual social media profile. So apparently she's not that proud. So moving on here, says Poriskova, who is on record as never having had filled, jabbed, or Botoxed her face, according to the Times, said while she can see why so many women turn to plastic surgery, that when a woman gets one of those cosmetic procedures, she's actually servicing exactly what you're trying to oppose. I agree with her. I actually agree with her. But then again, not everyone is blessed with natural beauty, right? Yes, she's aging, but clearly she still has natural beauty. And not, I, I would say most women do not have this natural beauty. Most women were not former supermodels. Most women were not gracing the cover of Sports Illustrated in the mid 80s, much less dating rock stars and Hollywood celebrities and Rick Ocasek from the Cars. So she's saying that yeah, don't do the fillers or the jabs and the Botox because you're servicing exactly what you're trying to oppose. I agree with that. We need to stand up and insist on not being invisible, she said. I wish there were more women who left their marionette lines, which run down from the corners of the mouth, and forehead lines and crow's feet. I wish there were more women who dared to age. So saying here that we need to stand up and insist on being invisible, that sounds to me like she's demanding, right? Um, that is not how reality works. That's not how society works. You can't just sit here and demand you pay attention to me. I demand to not be invisible. I demand people to look at me. No, that's not how things work because, and this is why, and the sad part is, just to give you guys a very basic psychology lesson, because most women tend to vote left, which is usually very socialist, dare I say communist, right? But they, and Marxist, right? They tend to vote left, and their whole thought process aligns with that, like strong arming people, like by force, right? Taking people by force and forcing them to like this or forcing them to accept that. And you better adhere to my principles and my values and my ideologies. And if not, you're a bad person. We're gonna cancel you. We're gonna dox you. We're gonna publicly shame you. Versus in a free society like the one we're living here, the one we're currently living in here in the United States, what's left of it, right? What's left of our free society and free market capitalism, you can't strong arm people into doing whatever you want because you're twisting their arm. Instead, the way to get people to listen to you, to pay attention to you, to not ignore you and think of you as invisible. The way to do that is to produce something of value that will get their attention, right? Hopefully something positive, something that they can align with, something that they can relate to, something that will motivate them to want to get to be a part of your cause. But in order to do that, that takes work. It takes effort. It takes pounding the pavement. It takes skill. It takes sacrifice, which many of these women, especially modern women, especially these type of older women, do not want to do because they've had things handed to them on a silver platter their entire lives. So they don't want to put in the work. Instead, they just want to sit here and demand it like a baby. Oh, you better just give it to me. We'll cancel you if you don't like my beliefs, if you don't agree with what I agree with. If you're a Trump supporter, you're going to be so sorry. Instead of like, hey, tell me why. Why do I have to believe what you believe? Why is it a good idea? This is what I can't stand about the left, right? And I'm not saying she's left, but she definitely she's definitely acting like one. So I don't know her political beliefs, but she's definitely acting like a leftist. This is what they do, right? They constantly have to shove everything down your throat, like constantly shoving horse manure down your throat, right? And forcing you to accept it rather than showing you and demonstrating why is this a good idea. And this is what I can't stand about the left, mainstream media, is they constantly try to get their points across to you by shaming you, name calling you, labeling you, doxing you, and threatening to cancel your livelihood, ban you from social media. Instead of just sitting there and having a conversation and having an open debate, an open exchange of ideas, which I really only see the right doing. This is why I've moved way more right. Well, not way more right, but I've definitely moved more right than ever before because the left has become this very toxic, negative, strong-arming, Marxist type of, just evil entity that is forcing you to accept this or else. Forced to accept this or else. You know what you call that? You call that a bully, man. You call that an a-hole. You call that a loser. It's like, why? How come you just can't compete in the marketplace of ideas and let the best ideas rise to the top. But it's like once they see the other side winning, they're like, oh my God, cancel him. Can you believe what they said? Oh my God, I can't believe people listen to him. Like when people, like haters come to my channel, like a lot of these feminists, I can't believe you have that many men listening to you and following you. How did you get all these toxic men to follow you? You know, and it's like, maybe because my message is ringing clear to them, maybe because they're relating to me, maybe because they've experienced what I talk about. Could that possibly be it? Maybe because, you know, and I don't need to strong arm anybody to follow me. I just let my ideas out there. I let them speak for themselves. And obviously, I get a lot of followers from doing that because guys relate to it. I'm not trying to twist anyone's arm or threaten to cancel anyone or threaten to show up at anyone's house or anything. If you don't listen to me, or if you don't believe what I believe, no, I'm just putting my ideas out there and I'm letting people have the free choice to voluntarily choose to listen to me or to not to listen to me. But what the left does is this constant strong arming of shoving their values and principles and moral, like, well, they don't have morals, but their lack of morals down your throat, right? And it's like, hey, if this is such a great idea, if what you have to say is so awesome and it's so great for humanity, why do you have to constantly manipulate people, strong arm people, threaten people, and dox people in order to get your message across? Why do you have to constantly ban people? You know, I mean, why do you have to do this stuff if you have such a great idea? Why do you have to try to indoctrinate the youth so much? Why do you have to try to indoctrinate kids as young as 5 or 6 years old to start believing what you believe in? To start believing what you believe. The reason why you have to do that is because you know your ideas are bad, toxic, evil, satanic, and wrong, and will lead to failure. But you want to do it because selfishly, I get to feel good. I get to virtue signal because I'm smug. That's what's behind this. But anyway, not to go on a rant there, but let's get back to Paulina's story. Paulina goes on to say, and recently the ladies of the Sex and the City reboot, and just like that, have highlighted the topic of women aging in the public eye. If I was from a regular life, I would feel fine. I would feel great. I'm healthy. I'm strong. I've got this little 3-year-old son and I carry him around and it's all good. But no, I'm on television where every bit of my physical being is analyzed. Kristen Davis, who plays Charlotte York, recently told New Beauty magazine. That part was always very stressful and difficult for me because as much as I can look back on my life and think, oh, I looked great then, you never think that at the time, you never, oh, okay, so she's saying, oh, I look great then, back when she was younger. You never think that at the time. I guess no one does, she added. Yeah, because you have so many guys telling you that. You look great, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous. Oh, you're so stunning. Oh my gosh. Oh, will you just marry me? You know, you have so many guys doing that so many of you women in your 20s, you take it for granted. And that's why I always say, you chicks in your 20s, you take this for granted. And some of them, a lot of them these days, a lot of these modern women, they even cross the line into becoming abusive, verbally abusive, and sometimes physically abusive towards the men that are just complimenting them. Like, oh, you're ugly, ew, gross, fat ass. You know, I mean, they start saying things like that. So here's a little video that we're not going to watch. Sarah Jessica Parker slams misogynistic comments about aging. They're not misogynistic comments. They're just real criticisms. And that's the thing, is if there's a 10th commandment, apparently, that if you criticize a woman, or an 11th commandment, I should say. 11th commandment, if you criticize a woman, you're going to be labeled a misogynist. Thou shalt not criticize women, right? Her co-star, Sarah Jessica Parker, who plays the famed Carrie Bradshaw, also responded to misogynistic chatter about her and her fellow castmates in an interview with Vogue last year. There's so much misogynistic chatter in response to us that would never, ever happen about a man, she said. It almost feels as if people don't want us to be perfectly okay with who we are, as if they almost enjoyed us being pained by who we are today. Whether we choose to age naturally and not look perfect, or whether you do something if that makes you feel better, she added. So Sarah Jessica Parker here, like the rest of them, are kowtowing to this dare I say, invisible boogeyman that is telling them that they can't do it and they should be invisible and whatnot. When I mean the reality is guys just are no longer paying attention to them. Guys are no longer interested in them because guys will always just prefer younger, more fertile women. And there are actually studies on this. This is not a load of malarkey that I'm feeding you. There are actual studies on this that men do prefer younger women. Okay, no matter what age you are, I mean, there are a number of studies out there done by credible universities that will confirm over and over that no matter how old a guy gets, he will constantly prefer to date younger women in their 20s. Even if he's an older guy, you could still find older women your own age who might still look like Paulina there, who's still attractive at her age. Um, you might find her attractive, but when it comes down to brass tacks, if you had your choice, you would want the 20, the 22-year-old Paulina or the 18-year-old Paulina versus the 58-year-old Paulina. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. But there are studies on this. It's not a social construct as the definition of ageism currently is. If you ever Google ageism, it's pretty pathetic. It says even here, the term ageism refers to two concepts: a socially constructed way of thinking about older persons based on negative attitudes and stereotypes about aging, and a tendency to structure society based on an assumption that everyone is young, thereby failing to respond appropriately to the real needs of older persons. So basically, they're referring to women because men, as we get older, we just get better with age, and we don't really have to deal with ageism. If anything, maybe we'll have to deal with some health-related issues, back, neck, legs, whatever. It just, we deal with old age, but not to this level where we become invisible to the opposite sex like many of these women do. This is hilarious down here. It says, what are the three types of ageism? Ageism can operate both. Okay, it says that there is micro level, meso level, and macro level ageism. So this is why I no longer trust Google search results, because you get a lot of this wokeism going on here when they're talking about macro level and micro level aggression, or triggering. So like I said, if you want to see the studies on this, it's not hard to find, right? We are wired to want younger women, guys. We are wired to want younger, more fertile, more feminine women. That is what guys want, no matter how much older we get. We get in our 40s, our 50s, even our 60s. Studies have found that these guys all still desire women in their 20s. Nobody wants an aging, loudmouth, Carrie Bradshaw, who is riding the carousel. Well, isn't that what Sex and the City was about, right? It's called Sex and the City. I've never watched a single episode, but it's basically about women riding the carousel. Am I wrong? Nobody wants that. Nobody wants, a used up vajayjay with STDs and, thinning hair and wrinkles and crow's feet and turkey neck and all that other stuff. Not to be mean, but just trying to be real, because these ladies are calling anybody who doesn't want them misogynist. How come they weren't calling these guys misogynist when they were in their 20s, when they were at the peak of their power, when they looked like this? How come men weren't misogynist here in 1985, Paulina? There were men that you never came across these misogynistic men. Oh, not until you got into your 50s and they were no longer paying attention to you, right? That is when they became misogynistic, when they stopped paying attention to you. So the hypocrisy is real, guys, and it's insane that they even do articles on this nonsense. But it says, just to close up here, it says, Poroskova said in her interview with the Times that the public still has a ways to go when it comes to perceptions of beauty. No, it doesn't have a ways to go, Paulina, because there are studies on this. If you do your basic research on it, you will see the studies confirm that men prefer younger women. There's really no science to this. Okay? Men want younger women. And when you're no longer young, men stop paying attention to you, because that's what we're wired to do. It's part of our DNA. just like women are wired to go after the highest value male they can. And this is why I encourage women who follow me on my channel, when they're in their 20s, you better get that done if that's what you want, because it will get harder and harder as you lose your looks. It will become more and more impossible. You will be like that 35-year-old NFL running back trying to get that $50-60 million contract when he only has 1 or 2 more years left in the NFL, when he should be really retiring. It's just not realistic, you know. And then that's like that same NFL running back turning around and suing the NFL for age discrimination. It's like, no, dude, you're just you know, we have younger players, right? You've had your time in the spotlight. You had a great career. You made lots and lots of money. Now take that and ride off into the sunset and be thankful and be grateful that you had the career that you did that most people in the world will never have. Okay? Be thankful. But are these women ever thankful? Are they ever grateful? Do they ever say, wow, I've been so blessed. I've had such a phenomenal career. I've met so many phenomenal, amazing people, talented people, musicians, actors. I've traveled the world. Oh my goodness, if I were to die tomorrow, I have done it all. I'm so blessed. Are they ever thankful? No, no. I mean, every day that I wake up personally, right? And I came from a hard upbringing. We didn't have money. We struggled growing up. I mean, you know, we took trips to Disneyland. We had to sleep in the station wagon, my dad's station wagon, with me, my brothers, my sisters, and my 2 grandmothers, all comprised into this blue station wagon we had back then. It was an Oldsmobile, because we didn't want to pay for the motel room, right? So we just stayed in the car. It's like 95 degrees out, and it was, you know, but as a kid, you're like, hey, I'll just make the most of it. And now I'm at a point where, you know, I've made the right moves in life. I became financially successful. I could retire right now if I want to, you know, but every single day, regardless, you know, I've gotten the dream cars I wanted. I've dated all the beautiful women I could possibly date in the next 10 lifetimes. Every day I wake up, I am so thankful. I thank my lucky stars. I feel so blessed, even though I worked my ass off, even though I took a lot of risk and I sacrificed so much, right? I sacrificed so much to get where I am. There's not a moment where I'm not grateful. I'm not feeling blessed. I'm not thankful. Even the fact that I have this YouTube channel, people are watching me. I mean, I'm so thankful for you guys watching me, and I'm thankful I'm alive. I've got my health. I mean, I've got 2 arms, 2 legs. I'm not going blind. I'm not in a wheelchair. I mean, you know, my dogs are healthy. I'm just grateful every day I wake up. I'm so thankful. And even when I was broke, guess what? I was still thankful. I was still grateful to be alive, to have my health, to have family and friends who cared about me. But when I hear these women's stories, and most modern women, even modern women who are not famous, weren't former supermodels, are they ever thankful? Are they ever grateful? Do they feel blessed? No, no. They're always constantly crying about something, right? They're never thankful about anything. They're complete ingrates, right? They're just, I mean, it's like, dude, you've made millions of dollars as a supermodel. You've had this insane career. You've met just, you know, the world's best musicians, the world's best actors, the world's best models. You live in a mansion. How are you still like crying about things? It just tells you women can never be happy. They'll always look for any reason possible to play victim, to cry foul. And this is why, just like a baby, you cannot feed into their tantrums. You can't, right? You can't. So, yeah, it's just sad, man. It's just sad. But just to close up here, she goes, we are in a society set up for women who look like little girls. That is because that is what people want, Paulina. I mean, do some basic research and see what the actual studies have to say. That shouldn't be okay with us. We need a collective movement to fight ageism, but it requires a bending of the sisterhood, which just hasn't happened. Could it be because the sisterhood are made up of girls like you back then that are still young and very wanted by society and very prized by society and are getting all the gigs that you can't get anymore and are too busy just enjoying their careers and meeting rock stars like you did once, and socializing with celebrities like you did back in the day? Could it be that that's why they don't care about it, just like you didn't? So the hypocrisy is real, guys, and it's just astonishing. These chicks just are completely, they just leave me speechless with the lack of gratitude that they have for the lives that they were blessed with. I mean, the careers that they were blessed with, the financial resources they were blessed with, the people they've met, the experiences they've had that most people will never experience. It's sad that they're still sitting here as multimillionaires, living in mansions, having had successful careers, talking about how they're victims. As always, guys, drop your comments below in the comment section. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to share. Feel free to share it below. Share it with the tribe. Any experiences you've had that you want to share with the tribe, with these older women. Anything I might have missed, drop those comments below. I always love to see you guys in my comments. I always love to read them. Always very entertaining. So drop those comments below. And as always, make sure you smash that like button below. Go ahead and smash it right now. Hit the notification bell as well, so you're notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video here on the YouTube. More importantly, make sure you subscribe my channel. Okay, so you're actually subscribed, and you will get notified when I release brand new stories, just like the one we had tonight, that you can go to sleep to, and that will help make your drive to work, or your drive to the gym, or your drive home just that much more entertaining. All right, and for all you guys who want to support my work, and if you love what I'm doing here, and the best way to do that is to jump in my monthly online coaching program, 7 Months to Mastery, where we are going out and going after the 8s, 9s, and 10s of the world. That's right, the youngest, hottest, and most beautiful looking women out there. We are encouraging ageism. So we're going out after the youngest and most beautiful looking women out there, the 8s, 9s, and 10s. I teach you how to do that in 7 Months of Mastery, so you don't have to settle for these 50, 60-year-old women who are just complaining about, oh my gosh, I'm a multi-millionaire, I live in a mansion, and I'm so victimized, oh, I'm so oppressed. You won't have to deal with girls like that. Instead, you're going to go after we go after the younger, hotter, and more fertile, and more submissive, and more feminine type of women. That's what I teach you in 7 Months to Mastery. I am a professional pickup artist, so I've been doing this my entire adult life, and I am one of the top 10 pickup artists in the world, so you'll be learning from the best. And right now, it is only $1 for the entire first month of coaching lessons from me in 7 Months of Mastery, so take advantage of it. And it's really easy to get signed up. All you need to do is click that link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. Just takes 2 seconds, and this is the absolute best way to support my work. If you love what I'm doing and you want to learn how to pick up young, hot, beautiful women, I will teach you how to do that. Right? So click the link below, get over to my website, and just takes 2 seconds to sign up, and I will see you in my next coaching video. Till next time, I'm out.